Just have yourselves a seat wherever is easiest and most convenient for you. Just keep in mind we will be moving around so if you want to sit somewhere a little bit closer so you can move, we'll be moving up there, we'll be moving out there. You'll be very clearly told when you're about to move. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Crowley. Sisters on.
Oh,
Indeed.
My sister.
Now, you're a woman. You have womanly brows, knees.
We flock like pilgrims to the jewel of the north on the road to make a bingo our numbers few forth.
We're young farmers,
the stags and the hens,
The pigeon fanciers,
and the fishermen's friends,
with the die-hard,
the cry-hards, the on-fleek, the off-beat,
the tops,
and the vicars, and the nanas in big knickers.
Blackpool is our spiritual home, our end of the pier, our comfort zone.
puking indoors.
Fighting in streets.
Rubbish and wrappers are not ours to keep. We're sequins, we're fake tan.
We're grown men dressed like your nan.
We're arcade heads.
We're ten in the beds.
We follow the lights.
We're one of the crowd.
We're flash and we're brash and we're out loud and proud.
We're seeking sand, sea and sun.
Some of us are on the run.
Fallen on our ass, looking for the meaning of life. Fallen on the glass. Walking down
With legs all wonky.
looking for something more than a ride on a donkey.
donkey.
Eyes across dance floors.
Mine's merging over shots. He's the one.
She's beautiful.
I hope this night never stops. So, for childhood nostalgia, morning neuralgia, fish, peas and chips, donuts with no licky lips, chicken tikka flavoured rock, or even a plate of hot.
If you want to escape
Your
from your
everyday cares and
scream
scream
if you want to go faster!
if you're seeking sand dunes and salty air,
Come to Blackpool! You'll have a good time there!
if you're seeking
Sand dunes and salty air. Praise little images here and there. If you're seeking sand dunes and salty air. Praise little images here and there. If you're seeking sand dunes and salty air.
I had to come in just to see the old place. Takes me back. So many great people, so many great memories. I remember the smile on their faces, wonderment in their eyes. Felt like yesterday coming in, first day. There he was, smartest man I've ever known, sweeping away on floor. I thought he were cleaning. Excuse me.
Oh, excuse me, I've got a job to do.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, excuse me. I've got an interview at 10 o'clock, Mr. Crawley. Should be here.
Only me here. Do you want me to go look for him?
Yeah, good.
Whilst I'm there, do you want a brew?
Oh, tea, thanks. Oh, okay. You can do this, you can do this, you got this, you got this. Mr. Crawley.
Milk?
Sorry?
Milk? For your brew?
Yes, please, no sugar.
Right, okay.
I have 10 years' experience. I believe I am the ringmaster for you, Mr. Crawley. I am good, dedicated, hard-working.
I don't know why you want to work here. I mean, look at you. It doesn't pay very well. I mean, look at me. I've been here years and all I'm doing is been sweeping the floors.
Look, it's not about the money, right? It's about the look on their faces, right? It's that gaze of wonder, as they've seen something they've never seen before, that you help create. Now, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm here for an interview, Mr. Crawley. Can you please go find him?
All right, keep your hat on.
Thank you. Mr. Crawley, I believe with you and me, we can take Blackpool Tower Circus to a whole new level. No, that's too formal. What? No, not that. It's all about first impressions. Right. 10 years, very passionate. I'm ready to learn. Yeah, that would be ready to learn. Just really willing to do something.
Sorry about that. I had to make sure I had the right person. I'm Mr. Charlie Colori. Can you start tomorrow? Yeah. Good.
Most people forget that Blackpool was created as a resort for the mill workers of Lancashire to come to escape, a place where they could eat too much, drink too much, enjoy themselves. Now some people think it should be more than it once was, but how can it be? It's a place built especially for people to come to escape their everyday, coming together and having fun. That was our job, to entertain, to make people laugh. Charlie had been making them laugh for 40 years. Generations loved him. People who came to see him when they were a kid brought their own kids to see him. He must be doing something right. Right? Making people laugh for a living. What a job to have, eh? Not that it wasn't hard work. I mean, he made it look easy. Look, what are you doing? All right. He made it look easy, but there were hours and hours and hours. No, right.
Yeah.
Hours of rehearsal to get it right. I mean, look at this. This Roach routine was a classic of its time. Maybe it will go down so well now with modern audiences. Maybe we all got a bit too clever about what we think is funny. Yeah. I hope not. For me, funny is funny. You've only got to say the word circus, really. And hairs on my neck stand on end. Welcome everyone to the world famous Blackpool Tower Circus. I am your ringmaster, able assisted by Mr. Charlie Caroli. We have many acts to amaze and delight you this day. First of all, we will attempt to tame the beast from the Sahara Desert. I give you 550 pounds of ferocity in the lion known as Wallace! What are you doing? That's not all we got, ladies and gentlemen, no. We have esteemed acts from all over the world. Firstly, from the Rome Circus, I give you high wire act extraordinaire, Alberto Wierenowski!
Jump! Come on, jump! Come on.
Charlie's not going to jump. He's high wire act.
Okay.
Sorry. Alberto Wierenowski, ladies and gentlemen. And that's not all we have. We have, from Paris, France, rhythmic gymnastic extraordinaire, the amazing Bertoli!
Ooh la la! Oh, I can do that.
No, not sometimes, no, imbecile!
And that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. We have now, from the Moulin Rouge in Paris, France, expert fire breather extraordinaire, Francois Villani!
Wow!
It's fire breathing, not the bubble. Right, and that's all. We have our main event of the evening. Now, observe in the centre of the circus ring. This is strongman Tony Schiavone from deepest, darkest Peru. He will attempt a feat never tried before on a circus stage. Observe here, we have a 1,000 pound weight. Strongman Tony Schiavone will now cleanly lift this weight over his head. Now we need complete concentration for this feat of strength. So, can I have a drum roll, please? There was so much going on. But for me, the Tower Circus and Charlie Caroli. Always have been, and always will be, my favourite.
I come from a long line of fortune tellers, and I've lived in Blackpool most of my life. I've predicted many destinies with the help of my trusted crystal ball. It never lies. Cross my corner silver, and I'll tell you what your future holds. Let me tell you a tale of times past. You all know it, by the way. You all know it, and you love it. However, I did predict it. There's a famous seaside place called Blackpool that's noted for fresh air and fun.
And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom
Went there,
with young Albert, their son,
a fine little lad, young Albert.
all dressed in his best, quite as well. He had a stick with an horse's head handle, the finest that Woolworths could sell.
They didn't think much of the ocean. The waves were fiddle and small.
Charming.
There were no shipwrecks. Nobody drowned. But nothing to laugh at all.
So, seeking for further amusement.
They paid and went into the zoo.
Where there were tigers, lions, and camels.
Cold ale.
And sandwiches too.
There were one great big lion called Wallace.
Whose nose was all covered in scars. He lay in a somnolent posture, the side of his face on the bars.
Now Albert had heard all about lions.
Oh, they were ferocious and wild. To see lion so peaceful, ha! Just didn't seem right.
To the child.
So, the brave little fella, showing no morsel of fear, took his stick with the horse's head handle and stuck it in Wallace's ear.
You can see that.
The lion didn't like it.
Give it a kind of a roar.
He pulled Albert in the cage with him and swallowed the little lad whole.
Now Mother had seen this occurrence, and not knowing what to do next, she hollered.
And Pa said, "Gee, I am vexed."
They complained to an animal keeper, who said, "My, what a nasty mishap. Are you sure it's your boy he's eaten?"
And Pa said, "Am I sure? There's his cap."
The manager had to be sent for. He came and he said, "What's to do?" Ma said,
Good line, said Albert. And he knew his Sunday best too.
Pa said, "Right's right, young fella. I think it's a shame and a sin to have our son ate by a lion after I paid to get it."
the manager wanted no trouble. He took out his purse right away, saying how much to settle the matter.
Pa said, "How much do you usually pay?"
But Mother returned a bit awkward. When she saw where her Albert had gone, she said, "No, someone's got to be summoned." So that was decided upon. And off they all went to the police station in front of a magistrate's chair. He told what had happened to Albert and proved it by showing his cap. The magistrate gave his opinion that no one was really to blame, and he said that he hoped the Ramsbottoms would have further sons to their name.
And that Mrs. Robham was getting blazing after seeing where Albert had gone.
And thank you, sir, kindly, said Mother. What, spend all our lives?
Raising children to feed ruddy lions. Not me!
Now Wallace was sorry the moment he'd done it. With children he'd always been chums, and besides he'd no teeth in his novel, and he couldn't chew Albert on the gums. But Albert kept kicking and fighting till Wallace arose feeling bad, and he felt it was time that he started to stage a comeback for the lad. So with his head down in the corner,
On his front paws he started to walk, and he coughed, and he sneezed, and he gargled, till Albert shot out like a cork.
Meanwhile, Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom had gone home to tea feeling blue.
I feel down in the mouth like.
Pa said, I bet Albert does too.
Let's look on the bright side of things. What can't be helped must be endured. Every cloud has a silver lining.
And we did have young Albert insured.
The knock at the door came that moment, as father these kind words did speak. 'Twas the man from Prudential. He called for his tuppence per person per week.
Excuse him for laughing, said Mother. Things have happened so strange.
Oh.
Alex, I didn't buy a lion, and you'll have to pay us for a change.
Said the young fellow from the Prudential. Now, come, let's understand this. You don't mean to say you've lost him?
No, we know where he is.
When the young man had heard all the details, a bag from his pocket he drew, and he paid them with interest and bonus the sum of £9.4 and 2.
Pa had scarce got his hand on the money when a figure at the window they did see.
It's Albert!
Pa said, aye, it would be.
Young Albert came in all excited, ready with his story to give.
And Pa said, I will never trust lions again as long as I live.
The young fellow from the Prudential, to pick up the money, began.
And Pa said, just a moment, don't be in a hurry, young man.
And then giving young Albert a shilling,
He said, pop off back to the zoo. Take your stick with your horse's head handle. We'll see what the tigers can do.
Worst things happen at sea. Worst things happen to me. Worst things happen at sea. Worst things happen to me. Worst things happen at sea. Worst things happen to me.
My story's tough. I travelled a long way across many miles in few times to be here. My story starts in a city in Persia where there lived two brothers, one called Kasib and one Ali Baba. When their father died, he left them both an equal share of the little he had. Kasib married a widow who owned a shop bursting with fine goods. He soon became a wealthy man and lived a life of ease. Ali Baba, on the other hand, married a woman as dirt poor as he was. He was forcefully, sparsely, scratching a living making fishing nets in a nearby beach. Day after day, he'd go out and weave the nets until his back ached, his hands blistered, and until there was almost no more sun left to see his tools. One day, when Ali Baba was on the seashore, he noticed a cloud of sand.
As he peered closer, he could see it was a band of horsemen riding towards him at great speed.
Ali Baba was suspicious. Ali Baba climbed into a crag where he could see without being seen.
Dismount!
Ali Baba counted the men and found they numbered 40.
From their cold eyes and shining daggers, he could tell that they were thieves. The one he took to be their captain stood in front of the cliff face. Open! Sesame! A door in the cliff swept open, and immediately afterwards swept shut once again.
Ali Baba froze, not knowing what to do. He waited, and eventually the door opened, and the men appeared once more.
The thieves mounted their horses and rode off across the sands.
Ali Baba climbed down and walked towards the cliff door. Open sesame! Immediately the doors flew wide open and Ali Baba walked in. He was astonished to find a bright and airy cavern carved out of rock. Inside were landscapes and limitless treasures. Islands of sparkling treasures sat on riverbeds of rich silks and brocades and mountains upon mountains of silver and gold coins. He soon realised that the cave had been hidden, not for years, but for centuries, by generation after generation of thieves. So he grabbed a bag of gold coins and went back home. Wife! Wait till you hear what just happened!
Oh, Ali Baba!
You don't. We don't have to steal. If you steal, they'll cut off your hand. If they cut off your hand, you can't make nets. You can't make nets. We have no money. If we have no money, we have no food. And if we have no food,
Oh, calm down, wife, calm down.
Alibaba, you brought shame upon our house. You've lied. You've stolen.
Alibaba told his wife of all of his adventures that day, and they decided to keep the whole thing a secret.
One, two, three.
Don't be an idiot, wife. It'll take all week to get this lot counted. We need to hide the coins right now.
I know. I'll go up to your brothers and borrow some scales, and I'll weigh all the gold and see how much we worth.
Oh, if you insist. But remember, human silence is safe.
Alibaba's wife fluttered over to what his brother says. Oh, sister-in-law, can you please lend me some scales?
Now the sister-in-law knew that Alibaba was poor as a pebble and immediately smelt a rat. They can barely afford a bowl of rice between the three of them, she thought. What the devils do they have enough of that needs to be weighed? And so, in order to catch them out, she greased the inside of the pan of the scales before returning them back out. Here you are, my dear. I'm sorry it's taken so long.
Alibaba's wife fluttered back over to her house and counted all the gold and weighed it and took the scales back to her sister-in-law. Sister-in-law, I thank you very much. I'm much obliged. Go!
What's this? Alibaba has enough gold coins to fill a pair of scales. Where did the penniless pauper get it from? The sister-in-law couldn't wait to tell her husband the news. Kasim, you think yourself a wealthy man, but you are mistaken. Alibaba has far more money than you. He doesn't count his gold as you do. He weighs it.
Instead of being happy for his brother's good fortune, Kasim was stricken with deadly jealousy and marched straight to his brother's house. Alibaba, my wife found this. He stuck to his scales you borrowed yesterday. I demand an explanation.
Alibaba realised that thanks to his wife, Kasim now knew their secret. So he struck a deal. He told him where to find the gold, and in return, he'd have to share it equally and to promise to never tell a soul.
Following Alibaba's instructions, he raced straight towards the cliff. Open! Sesame!
His eyes pored over the riches inside, which were beyond his wildest dreams, so much that he spent the rest of the day in open-mouthed wonder and clean forgot till evening that he'd come to take the treasure away.
Eventually, Kasim snapped out of his trance and grabbed as many gold sacks as he could and dragged them towards the door. Open! Semolina! Open! S'asseoir! Open! Sunflower!
The more he tried to remember the word, the more it left his mind, until the greed of fire was extinguished by an icy cold dread.
The next day, the thieves returned to their cabin. The captain marched straight up to the door in the cliff face, his shining dagger in his hand. Open! Sesame!
Kasim charged toward the door.
But he was surrounded by the thieves and killed.
His body was cut into quarters and left there to scare anybody else off. They then set off back into the countryside to search for caravans to rob.
But the captain decided to remain behind and watch for intruders.
Brother-in-law, please help me. It's late, and my husband hasn't returned home from the forest, and I'm terrified something dreadful has happened to him.
Immediately, Alibaba went to the forest. When approaching the cliff, he saw no sign of Kasim. So he climbed down and gave the command, "Open sesame!" Inside was his brother's butchered body. So without hesitating, he grabbed some cloth and scooped up his brother's remains and headed back to his brother's house in town, where he was greeted by his brother's clever slave girl, Majana. Regina, my life depends on your secrecy. What's happened? These bundles contain your master's murdered body. Merciful heavens!
Unbeknownst to Alibaba, the captain had seen everything that had happened. He knew that Alibaba had stolen from his stash of treasure. For this, he must seek revenge.
He ordered the thieves to purchase 39 large leather jars, one filled with oil
And the rest completely empty.
He then ordered each thief to climb inside a jar.
With this done, he then disguised himself as an oil merchant and knocked on the door of the house where Alibaba now lived. Sir, my name is Khawaja Hussein. I have travelled from a faraway land with oil to sell at market. Might I spend the night underneath your roof?
Welcome, my friend. Your home is my home. Alibaba didn't recognise the captain in his disguise.
Khawaja Hussein, or rather the captain of the 40 Thieves, crept from barrel to barrel, saying, "Have your daggers at the ready. When the time comes, I shall return and give you the signal, and then we shall have our revenge." He then crept back into the house to join Alibaba for supper.
I set about preparing a meal, but while doing so, the oil lamp in the kitchen went out. So I went in the yard to borrow one from one of the jars. As I crept towards the first jar, I heard a whisper, "Is it time yet?" I replied, "Not yet, but soon." As I crept around the jar, I gave the same response each time. I soon realised that the oil merchant was actually the captain, and inside the jars were the 40 thieves. So I raced back to the kitchen, set a pan on a sizzling hot fire, and waited for it to bubble and spat. And then I ran into the yard and poured it onto the jar. I then served food and wine.
Meanwhile, the captain hatched a bloodthirsty scheme. There is no need to call my men, he thought. It will give me the greatest of pleasures to deal with this cockroach myself. I will get him drunk, and then when he falls asleep, I shall slice my enemy in two like a ripe watermelon.
But I'd already seen the captain's knife and knew what he was up to. So I put on my dancer's veil. It gives me great pleasure to present the dance of the deadly daggers.
Wretched woman, what have you done? You've ruined us all.
I did this to save you, not to hurt you. Can you not see what enemy you have brought into your gates? Look closely and you shall see the captain's 40 thieves. Alibaba was grateful that night. To show his appreciation, he gave me my freedom. I left my slave life that night and I never looked back.
Sand dunes and salty air, quaint little villages here and there. In your abundant sand dunes and salty air, quaint little villages here and there. In your sand dunes and salty air, quaint little
version of my story. Right, actually. Yeah, I know, it's a wig. Weird, isn't it? So you think, yeah, that I'm gonna find my Prince Charming up here after, don't you? Yeah? Yeah? Well, I'm not. Right? You think I'm just gonna reel off a load of fishy pans and talk about how amazing life was down under the sea?
Under the sea, darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me.
Stop it! It's a lie, that version. That ain't the real version, right? And even if I wanted to tell that version, do you think you'd actually bring the rights to it? I will tell you the real version. Right. Ask me what I'm doing here. Go on, ask me what I'm doing here. Ask me what I'm doing here! Thank you, good question. Any obvious, eh? Any obvious? I am serving a 300-year sentence in order to gain a soul. You don't know this version of the story, do you? Oh, right, we're going to have to start from scratch. Oh, for God's sake. Boy, sis, you said no fishy fun. Know your place. Right, pay attention, because you might not see this version again, all right? Right, so, you know how my sisters used to lure sailors to their deaths with their heavenly voices and their heavenly singing, yeah? Right, watch carefully. In order to get what you want, you must become human yourself. I have a potion that can turn you into a human for 3 days. Got that? 3 days. Now listen, this is important. Before the sun sets on the 3rd day, you must get him to fall in love with you. If you kiss him before the sun sets on the 3rd day, you'll remain human permanently. Have we got ourselves a deal? So if I remain human, I can't go back to the ocean? But you'll have your man. You'll live happily ever after, no doubt. There's a price, of course, but I'm not asking for much. Just your voice. My voice, but my heavenly voice, what was going on? My heavenly voice, how could I do anything in it? You'll have your looks, your pretty face. And don't underestimate the power of body language. Now come on, you poor unfortunate soul. I'm a very busy witch and I haven't got all day. She's beautiful, isn't she? Would you believe that I was once that beautiful? I know you do, sir. Once I was clean, happy and fun like the ocean. And then humans came along. And now they pollute, they're toxic, and now they dump their plastic. And now my heart is made of plastic. And now I'm toxic. But one must adapt to one's surroundings. It's about survival of the fittest, after all. Kill him, and you'll be saved. If you kill him and let his blood drip upon your feet,
made once more. Return to life with your mer family. If you don't, you'll dissolve into seed foam and become nothing but evermore. You're in a half state. You have no soul. In order to gain any sort of peace, you must do 300 years of good deeds.
She took pity on me because I got my voice back. Don't go thinking that life is like happily ever after, because it ain't. Alright? Yeah? I think it used to be like this. Yeah? Look, you might think I'm being cynical, alright? But wouldn't you be? Wouldn't you be? Cheers. Yes. Where do Robin Elsa's blood wouldn't do us any harm?
Wouldn't do us any harm. Well, a drop of Nelson's blood wouldn't do us any harm. And we'll all hang on behind. On your feet. We'll roll the golden chariot along. And we'll roll the golden chariot along. The light in the zoo wouldn't do us any harm. And we'll all hang on behind. So we roll the golden chariot along. And we roll the golden chariot along. And we roll the golden chariot along. And we'll all hang on behind. One more time. We roll the golden chariot along. And we roll the golden chariot along. And we roll the golden chariot along. And we'll all hang on behind.
A spell on the pier wouldn't do us
A spell on the pier wouldn't do us any harm. A spell on the pier wouldn't do us any harm. And we'll all hang on behind.
I was trapped. A year of sailing, training, just a bunk bed to call my own. Surrounded by men, sailors. I was Navy 24/7. Navy. Every other part of me had been washed away. So when Richie said,
John, mate, let's go to Blackpool.
I dived in head first. Richie knew Blackpool on the back of his hand. He went there all the time as a kid. I choked and gagged and run. I followed Richie in a haze. He took me to his bar here as a kid, the Spouter Inn, a rough but legendary bar. There were wind and waves that battered away most of its charm. It was still the pinnacle of Blackpool entertainment, outdone but only by its owner.
The captain. Whoa, 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 whoa! Watch yourself, young lion. You've clearly not got your sea legs yet. Here, love, come look after this boy. Give him what he needs. I've got to go find myself a new crew. Half of them have quit. The other half are strewn across the beach.
Me and Richie started spending all our time at the Spouter Inn. I lived company, and he loved the illegal card games in the back room.
You still sat there. I have lost, and I have won, and then I have lost all over again. You've had what? A pint and a half.
She is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
She's nothing special, mate. I've seen better.
Look at her eyes, as beautiful as pearls, and deep and blue as the sea itself. A guy could get lost in those eyes.
Ask her out then. Have a look in her treasure chest. Hey, me and my mate over here would like a refill.
Hi.
Don't worry about it. She is nothing nothing special, trust me. You want to feel special, you need to look elsewhere.
Where?
Well, I'll tell you, there's this great place around all...
Jimmy, you slippery eel. Where's my money?
I'll be honest with you, I don't have it right now.
You got cash for drinks? Let me cut ya and see what you're hiding.
You wouldn't happen to be making trouble in my bar, would you?
Sir, no, sir.
Good. I'll get back in the other room.
Aye,
It's your
Captain.
turn to deal. So, you boys need money, do you? I'd pay a good deal of money for two young, strong boys like you.
For what exactly?
I'm looking for something.
Looking for what?
It doesn't matter what. What matters is, for two experienced Navy men, I'll pay you 100 quid extra each every time we sail.
Seriously?
Aye, plus your drinks for free.
Really? It was music to my ears. Me and Richie were already spending all our days at the Spouter Inn. I was burning through my cash, buying booze, hoping a bit of liquid courage to help make a change.
Well, I want to show you boys my boat. I call her the Piquot. Hoist! 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 Anchors away!
Oh no, that wave is huge. We can't ride it.
Then we'll bar straight through it.
It'll tear us apart!
Look, nothing will stop me. Do you hear that? Nothing can stop me.
Can you believe how much you paid us?
He nearly killed us!
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a little rough, but most people work a week to get that kind of money.
I can't do this anymore.
You're just nervous, mate. Go on. Have a little
No,
bit
I can't.
of courage.
I can't.
Take your medicine.
I can't.
Better?
I was looking for something. I thought I'd find it in her eyes. But they never looked at me. So I tried the bottom of a bottle. Not there either. Only one place left to look. The sea. I didn't care anymore. Tranquil tides or gale force waves. Doesn't matter. I was looking for the calm of the ocean. But now, I felt at home in the chaos of the raging storm.
We can't go out there tonight. It's too dangerous.
I do what I want. I'd strike the sun itself if it insulted me.
We're not going to find anything out there.
There is only one thing to find. Only one thing that can survive this. The mermaid.
The mermaid.
The mermaid.
So we've been looking for a mermaid.
Aye, and this storm is what finally is going to drive her out of hiding.
We spent our lives on a legend. Was all of this meaning?
No! It means something. It has to mean something.
He's gone crazy. Tell him he's gone crazy.
The whole world's crazy. It doesn't matter if he is or he isn't. All he can do is accept it. Besides, you need the money.
Today's the day I reach my destiny. Now be a good slave and get on the boat. How about you, boy? You a slave as well?
Wait a slave. Tell me that.
Keep going till I say otherwise.
This is madness.
This is not going to stop until I say it stops. We will beat this storm, and I will find her, even if it's just to spit my last breath at her.
And that was his last breath. Richie's too. So, I'm left floating. Floating endlessly. See everything we believe, everything we have, everything we seek. Eventually, it all sinks back into the sea. So, just relax. Let the tide take you. If you struggle, you'll sink. If you just relax and let the ocean take you on your journey, when you reach the centre of the sea, maybe your mermaid will find you.
Right, that's enough tonight. Come on, get out.
We're going.
Let's do it. Come on.
Going.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. And cheers for our man. They wouldn't do us any harm.
Against our mermaid wouldn't do us any harm. Against our mermaid wouldn't do us any harm. And all I love is high, so we're rolling.
My name is Barbara Harris, and now it's my time to tell you a tale. Now, it was 1935 in London when Harold first laid eyes on me. I was working in showbiz, or at least I thought I was. I was struggling. You get the idea. Harold was good to me. He got me back on my feet. He gave me food, opened doors for me, introduced me to people. Well, he even found me a job in his home, introduced me to his family. But domestic chores, not really my thing, you know what I mean. Anyway, he was a kind and generous man, and I want you to remember that as the rest of this tale unfolds.
All right, I'll go get ready. You're only 10 minutes. Go on, get ready. Right, roll, ladies and gentlemen, the sideshow is about to recommence. That's it, get around, come one, come all. We're the only sideshow in Blackpool where you do not pay to come in. That's right, good sir, you don't pay a penny. You pay to get out. Hey! The cost of that I'll leave right up to you there, Squire. Right, get around everyone, get around. Are we all here together? Hey! Good. Now you've seen many wonders before your eyes this day. You've seen Andy, the lobster-clawed man. Woo! You've seen Gypsy Cataletta, the tattooed lady. Oh, yeah. You've seen Brian, the human seal. My boy! And you've seen the Indian rubber man. Look now, he's the person you've been waiting for. Yes, you've read about him in the newspapers. You've seen him in the towns and cities near you, and he's here today. I give to you the disgraced, the defrocked, the disgruntled, and the utterly raving mad Vicar of Sandgrown! Easy, stand back, keep your distance everyone, right? We don't want summon the police, probably stampede it the last time, alright?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to support my campaign.
Support? We came because you was famous.
Yeah! They gotta come to the Nationals, not just exec, you know.
Thank you for coming to support my campaign, to reinstate my good name, to help me to reclaim my position as vicar, to enable me to continue my work of saving girls from a life of debauchery.
Do you think he did it? No smoke without fire.
Doesn't look too well, does he?
You got shifty eyes.
Like I keep saying, good people of Blackpool, God moves in mysterious ways.
From a barrel?
I believe it is my mission now to preach to you. It is my mission now to preach to you and spread the word of the Lord.
From a barrel?
Yeah, come on, Jimmy, tell us about your London girls.
My London girls needed saving. Yeah. It has been my sole purpose in life to put those poor, unfortunate wenches back on the straight and narrow.
So how has it come to this then?
I was dealt a great disservice. Not by the people, honest, hard-working people like yourselves, but by the gentry, powerful men of influence, the clergy, the institution I once devoted my life to.
Hey, folks, came here to have a good time, alright? Keep it lively, will you? Alright.
Well, prayer is all I have. The evidence was scant at the very least.
Hey, what about that letter though, Vic?
That Barbara said your keys to flats all the way around London, and she knew a lot more too.
With the greatest respect to Barbara, that letter was a forgery.
Yes.
It didn't even match her handwriting. Poor misguided girl. She probably had enormous pressure put upon her. I bear her no ill.
Oh, right. I don't think this is working. I think the market's a bit saturated with novelty acts, Nick. How about we try something different, eh?
Yeah.
Encased in a block of ice, eh?
Yeah.
Keep with biblical theme. You and the giant someone with the devil prodding.
No. With all my heart, people of Blackpool, you know my story. I'm the prostitute's padre. I firmly believe that if Christ were to be reborn today, he would be found on the streets, ministering to the poor and destitute.
That's not what the court said, though, is it, Vic?
But it wasn't a criminal trial, you see. No criminal proceedings were ever brought against me. It was a church matter, that is all.
See here, I've got the article. It was charged with accosting, molesting and importing a young female.
No, I did no such thing. I was on amicable terms with a great many young women. Didn't need my help, that is all.
How many?
Hundreds, I imagine, over the years. I took them back to my village. I even took them into my home. With the knowledge of my wife. She knew. I always return back to Stiffkey, though, on a Sunday evening. Yes, I may have been late to Mass.
Yeah.
Timekeeping has never been one of my strongest points, but surely that is no sin!
Hey, London folk didn't think very highly of you though, did they?
Idle gossip, that is all. I had connections in the theatre, you see, and I'd help girls find their footing.
Hey, we know that. And we've got the photo. I bet it's there. I bet that's why the case collapsed.
You can't explain that one away, though.
Of course I can explain it away. I had no idea she was naked beneath that shawl. I thought she was wearing her bathing suit.
Oh, your suit, boy.
What I mean to say is that the whole story is a sham. I bear the girl no ill.
Hey, what about Barbara Harris, one of your so-called girls?
She gave evidence against you, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
And John said that in court for all accounts, I made quite an end to it.
Aye.
Poor Barbara.